What you'll discover in this video. Before we begin, let me show you what we're about to uncover. If you're a man over 60 and you're waking up at night to use the bathroom, or you've noticed your urine stream isn't what it used to be, this video may change the way you think about your prostate health. We'll uncover 7 common mistakes that many men make without realizing they're doing anything wrong. We'll start with something surprisingly simple, your waistline, and why those extra inches around your stomach may matter more than you think. Then we'll look at how you drink water, because drinking water is important, but the timing may matter when nighttime bathroom trips are already a problem. We'll also uncover the foods that may be quietly working against your urinary health, and why your sleep may be connected to the cycle you're experiencing every night. But then, we'll get into mistakes that many men overlook completely. Why some men wait far too long before talking to a doctor. And why believing that prostate problems are simply something you have to live with can become a serious mistake. And finally, we'll reveal the warning signs from your bladder that you should never simply dismiss as, "I'm just getting older." Stay with me until the end, because the final takeaway isn't about a magic food, a magic drink, or a miracle cure. It's about understanding what your body may be telling you and knowing what you can actually do about it. Let's begin. Have you ever found yourself standing in the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning, half asleep, wondering why this keeps happening? You finally make your way back to bed and close your eyes, and just as you're about to fall asleep again, your bladder calls you back. For millions of men over 60, this has quietly become part of everyday life. Most blame aging. Others assume an enlarged prostate is the only explanation, and many simply accept it, believing nothing can be done. But what if that's only part of the story? What if some of the habits you've repeated for years have been quietly making those symptoms worse, without you ever realizing it? According to urologists, growing older certainly changes the prostate, but your everyday lifestyle choices can also influence urinary symptoms, bladder function, sleep quality, and overall prostate health. The challenge is, most men don't recognize these habits until the warning signs become difficult to ignore. A weaker urine stream, more frequent bathroom visits, interrupted sleep, or the constant feeling that the bladder never completely empties. Here's the encouraging part. While you can't change your age, you can still influence many of the daily habits that affect your urinary health. And today's documentary may help you discover a few simple changes worth discussing with your healthcare professional. Today, we'll uncover 7 common prostate mistakes men over 60 often make. Some are surprisingly common. Others may completely change the way you think about prostate health. And make sure you stay until mistake number 1. Because it's one of the least discussed habits. Yet many urologists encourage patients to think about it as part of protecting long-term urinary health. Mistake number 7, ignoring your waistline. If someone asked you, what causes prostate problems? Most people would answer, getting older. Others would say, genetics. Almost nobody says, my waistline. And yet, that may be one of the most overlooked parts of the conversation. Take a look around. Many men notice their belt getting tighter year after year, without realizing that extra weight around the abdomen may influence far more than appearance. Imagine 2 friends. Both are 65, both recently retired, both enjoy spending time with their families. One continues taking a morning walk almost every day. He stays active, keeps his weight relatively stable, and makes movement part of his routine. The other gradually becomes less active, a little more sitting, a little less walking, a few extra pounds each year, nothing dramatic, nothing that seems important at the time. 5 years pass almost unnoticed. One man still enjoys peaceful evenings and restful nights. The other begins planning every outing around the nearest restroom, wondering why those nighttime bathroom trips keep becoming more frequent. Their lives didn't change overnight. They changed through hundreds of small daily choices, repeated over time. Researchers have found that excess abdominal weight is associated with a higher likelihood of bothersome lower urinary tract symptoms in many men. That doesn't mean losing weight will cure an enlarged prostate, but maintaining a healthy body weight is one practical step that may support better urinary health alongside appropriate medical care. So ask yourself one simple question. When was the last time you measured your waist? Instead of only stepping on a scale, sometimes that measuring tape reveals a story your bathroom scale never will. Transition. But here's something even more surprising. The next mistake has nothing to do with your waistline. It isn't about exercise, and it isn't simply about getting older. In fact, it's one of the most common bedtime habits urologists hear about. Millions of men repeat it every single evening, believing they're doing something healthy, when it may actually be working against a good night's sleep. Let's take a closer look at mistake number 6. Spreading fluid intake more evenly throughout the day, rather than drinking large amounts shortly before bedtime, may help reduce nighttime bathroom visits. Of course, everyone's situation is different. People living with heart disease, kidney disease, or other medical conditions should always follow the advice of their own healthcare provider. The goal isn't to drink less water, it's to drink more wisely. Because healthy hydration isn't about avoiding water, it's about giving your body the right amount at the right time. Mistake number 5, ignoring the foods that quietly keep your prostate under pressure. If I asked you, what did you have for dinner last night? You'd probably remember the main course, maybe grilled chicken, a sandwich, or a bowl of pasta, but chances are you wouldn't remember the ingredients quietly hiding in that meal. The extra sodium, the processed meat, the sugary drink, or the handful of snacks you reached for while watching television. And that's exactly why this mistake is so easy to overlook. Your prostate doesn't react to one unhealthy dinner. It responds to the eating habits you repeat, week after week, month after month, year after year. Many highly processed foods are rich in sodium, saturated fats, and refined carbohydrates. While no single food has been proven to cause an enlarged prostate, long-term eating patterns built around heavily processed foods are associated with poorer metabolic health, and that may contribute to worsening urinary symptoms in some men. Think of your body as a long-term investment. Every meal sends a message. Some meals provide the nutrients your body needs to repair and function efficiently. Others slowly increase the burden your body must deal with over time. You may not notice those changes after one meal, or even after 1 month. But years of small dietary choices can gradually shape how your body performs. That's one reason many urologists encourage patients to look beyond medication alone. Because your dinner plate today may influence how you feel years from now. The encouraging news? You don't need a perfect diet. And you certainly don't need to eliminate every food you enjoy. The goal is simply to make better choices. More often than not, add more vegetables to your meals, choose whole grains whenever possible, replace processed meats with fish or lean protein more often. Cut back on heavily processed snacks. They're simple changes, but many urologists see something more. Mistake number 4, ignoring your sleep. Think back to the last time you woke up feeling truly refreshed. Not after 5 hours of broken sleep, not after waking up every hour or two, and not after lying awake staring at the ceiling. A full night of deep, uninterrupted rest. For many men over 60, that kind of sleep has slowly become the exception rather than the rule. Most people assume it's simply part of getting older, but many urologists see something more. Sleep and urinary health often affect each other in ways many men never realize. The more often you wake up to urinate, the more fragmented your sleep becomes. And poor quality sleep may affect hormone regulation, stress levels, energy, and your body's ability to recover. It's a cycle. One problem quietly fuels the other. Imagine your body working the night shift. While you're asleep, your brain helps regulate important hormones. Your muscles recover. Your tissues repair themselves. Your immune system continues protecting you. But every time your sleep is interrupted, it's like pressing the reset button. Your body has to begin that process all over again. One interruption may not seem important, but hundreds of interrupted nights, repeated over months or years, can leave you feeling exhausted long before the day even begins. That's why improving sleep isn't only about feeling rested. It's about giving your body the uninterrupted recovery time it depends on every single night. Now ask yourself one honest question. Is your prostate the only reason you're waking up? Or could some of your evening habits be making the situation even worse? Late night caffeine, alcohol before bed, heavy evening meals, large amounts of fluid shortly before sleeping, even inconsistent sleep schedules. Each one may quietly contribute to another trip to the bathroom. The encouraging news? Small evening adjustments, repeated consistently, can make a meaningful difference over time. But there's another mistake, one that countless men postpone for months, sometimes even years. And by the time they finally seek help, they often wish they had acted much sooner. Let's move on. Mistake number 3, waiting too long before seeing a doctor. Here's a simple question. How long would you ignore chest pain? Probably not very long. What about sudden blurred vision or unexpected weakness? Most people wouldn't wait. They would seek medical advice immediately. But when it comes to urinary symptoms, many men do exactly the opposite. They wait. Weeks, months, sometimes years. They tell themselves, it's just part of getting older. It'll probably go away. My friends deal with the same thing, so it can't be that serious. Unfortunately, that delay can sometimes allow manageable problems to become more frustrating than they need to be. A weak urine stream, frequent urination, difficulty getting started, or the feeling that your bladder never completely empties. These symptoms don't always point to the same cause. Sometimes it's an enlarged prostate, sometimes it's an overactive bladder, sometimes medications, diabetes, or another underlying medical condition may be contributing. That's exactly why guessing isn't enough. A proper medical evaluation helps identify what's actually causing your symptoms, and in many cases, the sooner that conversation happens, the more treatment options may be available. Remember, seeing a doctor isn't admitting weakness, it's taking control. It's one of the smartest investments you can make in your future health, your independence, and your quality of life. Many men eventually say, I wish I hadn't waited so long. Don't let those words become your story, because the final mistake, the one that ties everything together, isn't something you eat, it isn't something you drink, and it isn't simply another daily habit. It's a belief, one that quietly convinces millions of men there's nothing they can do. And once that belief takes hold, everything else becomes harder to change. Let's uncover 2, believing that prostate health is beyond your control. Imagine you're sitting in your doctor's office after months of interrupted sleep, frequent trips to the bathroom, and a weaker urine stream. You finally ask the question that's been on your mind. Doctor, is there anything I can actually do? For many men, they already expect the answer. No, it's just part of getting older. It's something I'll have to live with. But that's not how modern urology looks at prostate health. Yes, there are factors you cannot change. Your age, your genetics. Those are part of your story, but they are not the whole story. Your body weight, your physical activity, the quality of your sleep, your daily eating habits, how well you manage conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, and how early you choose to seek medical advice. Those are all areas where your choices still matter. Think about it this way. Your prostate has been with you every single day of your life. It doesn't respond to one healthy meal or one bad weekend. It responds to the patterns you repeat day after day, year after year. No single habit guarantees perfect prostate health, and no single mistake guarantees future problems. That's why the goal has never been perfection. It's consistency. Imagine planting two young trees on the very same day. One receives water, sunlight, care, year after year. The other is mostly ignored. At first, they look almost identical, but time quietly reveals the difference. One grows stronger, the other struggles. Your body works in much the same way. The small choices you repeat today become the health you experience tomorrow. That's why urologists focus on more than treating symptoms. They encourage healthier routines that support long-term quality of life. Because the goal isn't simply fewer nighttime bathroom trips. It's protecting your independence, your confidence, your energy, and your ability to enjoy the years ahead. Mistake number 1, ignoring your bladder's warning signs. Here's something many men don't realize. Your urinary symptoms are not simply something you should learn to live with. A weaker stream, more frequent trips to the bathroom, suddenly feeling an urgent need to urinate, dribbling after you finish, or the feeling that your bladder never completely empties. These signs are easy to dismiss. You might tell yourself, it's just age. Every man over 60 deals with this. Maybe it'll get better on its own. But here's the problem. Your bladder is giving you information, and ignoring that information can be a mistake, because urinary symptoms don't always have one single cause. Sometimes an enlarged prostate may be involved. Sometimes the bladder itself may be contributing, and sometimes medications, diabetes, other health conditions, or changes in your urinary system may play a role. That's why the goal isn't to diagnose yourself. The goal is to notice the pattern. Ask yourself, has my urine stream changed compared with a few years ago? Am I waking up more often during the night? Do I suddenly need to find a bathroom? Do I have difficulty getting started? Do I still feel like I need to go after I've just finished? These details may seem small, but together they can tell you something important about what's happening inside your body. And there's another reason this matters. Many men wait until their symptoms become severe before talking to a healthcare professional. They adapt their lives around the problem. They stop drinking before going out. They memorize where every bathroom is. They avoid long journeys. They wake up several times every night and slowly begin to accept it as their new normal. But that shouldn't be the goal. You don't need to panic about every change. And you don't need to assume the worst. You simply need to pay attention. Because recognizing a change early gives you the opportunity to understand what's causing it and decide what to do next with the help of a qualified healthcare professional. Your symptoms aren't something to be embarrassed about. They're information, and information gives you something powerful, the opportunity to act. Final takeaway. Before we finish, take a moment and think about everything we've discussed today. Your waistline, your hydration habits, your diet, your sleep, and the importance of not delaying medical advice. But there's one message that connects all 7 mistakes. Your prostate doesn't need you to panic. It needs you to pay attention. Don't wait until a weak urine stream becomes almost impossible to ignore. Don't wait until nighttime urination destroys your sleep. And don't assume every urinary change is simply because I'm getting older. Pay attention to the pattern. How often are you waking up? Has your urine stream changed? Are you rushing to the bathroom more often? Do you feel like your bladder isn't completely empty? These aren't things to be embarrassed about. They're information. And information gives you something powerful. The opportunity to act early. You cannot stop yourself from getting older. You cannot change your genetics. But you can decide how seriously you listen to what your body is telling you. Because protecting your prostate isn't about finding one magic food, one magic drink, or one perfect routine. It's about noticing the changes, understanding what they may mean, and taking the right action before a manageable problem becomes a bigger one. And if there's one thing I want you to remember from this entire video, it's this. Don't ignore the signals your body is sending you. Your next doctor's appointment doesn't have to be something you fear. It can simply be the conversation that helps you understand what's really happening and gives you a clearer path forward. Because growing older is inevitable. But ignoring your health doesn't have to be